Hi plant people, welcome to my jungle. Today we're going to be talking about Keiki paste and whether or not you should put it on your unrooted nodes and cuttings. I've always said no, you should not, but I never had any scientific explanation as to why. I just knew from my experience you shouldn't. I tried it so many times and every single time it failed. So Keiki paste is made out of benzoyl purine. Not going to say that again because it is a mouthful. So we use benzoyl purine in tissue culture and the multiplication stage. What it does is it will cause the node to make shoots or baby plants. In this stage of tissue culture, we do not have roots. Then we take it out and move it into the next tissue culture flask, and that's where we make the roots. So basically, Keiki paste is going to make shoots and not roots. Now once it starts making a growth or making a shoot and the node runs out of energy, it's going to end up dying because it doesn't have any roots to bring in the nutrition and water and things that those shoots need. Now I have this Florida Ghost. Let's see if I can. I put Keiki paste on and it has just shot out a ton of little shoots, and the root system is not going to be able to sustain this because it's just in a little 4-inch pot. So I'm going to end up having to cut some of these off, which is okay because I'm going to tissue culture this plant anyways. So I'm just going to take a good bit of these shoots off and put them in tissue culture. I have a white princess that did something similar. It didn't put off that many shoots, but it did make multiple different branches. Doesn't do that all the time. It just happens on occasions, but that's kind of what the benzoyl purine does. Now, there's only like a tiny % in here compared to what we use in tissue culture. So don't expect your plant to put out 40 little plants like it would in tissue culture. Also, don't put it on if you have a tall plant. Let me go get one. So I don't have a large plant, but I have this little guy. This little guy has several nodes that do not have a leaf on it. You want to make sure that whatever plant you're using is really rooted. As I said before, the Keiki paste will kind of stall the rooting to put out the shoots, which isn't always good. It can make your plant die. I think we've got to that by now, but I actually do have a little growth right. Let's see if you guys can see it. Put the Keiki paste there. I also have a growth point here, so I'm not going to do that. If this one doesn't start doing anything, I might put it there, but you don't want to put Keiki on all your nodes. It'll just stunt the growth and it may take off like this or it may not. And as I said before, this doesn't have enough roots to sustain all of the growth. So I'm gonna have to cut some of these off. I'm actually gonna go back to this one really quick. So I put Keiki on this a year ago. It didn't really do anything. A lot of larger leaves on this. And I'm not sure really what happened, but it started to die back, and that's when I started to add it. This was before I really knew, like I was still experimenting, and it didn't do anything until one day it just started doing everything all at once. But, you know, plants are just weird. They're just weird. So now I'm sure you're wondering, what do I put on my unrooted node? The answer is rooting hormone. This is one that I bought last year and I'm using it just to use it. I actually have a better recommendation for you. So rooting hormone has another ingredient that we use in tissue culture. Now, the stuff that you can get on the shelves at like Home Depot, Lowe's, and places like that just have a tiny bit of what we use in tissue culture, and we use the pure form. Rooting hormone has endobutyric acid in it, which is the other chemical, one of the other chemicals we use in tissue culture. Now, this one only has 0.1%. I don't know if you can see the ingredients. There's Clonex rooting gel, has 0.3%. Now, I would suggest that one if you're struggling to root something because it has more. The chemicals we use in tissue culture will help the plant, but it also helps fungus and bacteria to grow. One of our biggest issues in tissue culture is growing fungi and bacteria, which ends up killing the plants. So you really need to keep an eye on your plant. Use any type of rooting hormone or even the Keiki paste to make sure that you are not growing any type of fungi or bacteria on your plants. And if you do, you probably want to wash it off or something like that. I actually stopped using this when I first started gardening because I kept getting mold on my cuttings. Now I know why. I actually have a cutting right here, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but it is growing something on there. Now this, I would want to take it out and wash it off and make sure to lightly rub and get it back, put it back in new water, not the old water. Oh yeah, stop changing your water. Stop. I see this all the time in the Facebook groups that I'm in, the plant groups that I'm in. They say change your water once a week. Stop. Instead of changing your water to add oxygen into the water, just add a little more in. Stop changing it. When you change the water, you're dumping out everything the plant has put into the water to help itself root. So while you think you may be helping, you're not. Only change the water if you see mold growing in it, if it gets cloudy, or if it smells weird, or if your plant starts rotting. But otherwise, don't change it. Just add a little water into it. And I even have stuff growing in my water, but it's helping the plant, so I've left it. So here's an example of where I would change the water. Do you see it's starting to get black and squishy right there? I need to cut this off and change the water. So I don't cut right below the node because then that doesn't give me much room for error. I cut right above the node that I want to leave on the plant, or kind of cut, if I'm cutting two nodes, I'll cut right between them to give me some stem in case it rots. That way, if it does rot, I have time to save it. I hope you guys found this video super helpful, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments, and like or follow and all that stuff wherever you found this video. Bye!